Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all of you today to this workshop on growth mindset. Our host for today is Ms. Mamta Kapoor. Mamta ma'am is a renowned instructional coach and international minded educator with decades of experience in leading a culture of learning in schools. Presently, she is working with us as advisor, teaching and learning. I now request Ms. Mamta to take over the session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prajita. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. I welcome all parents who have taken out their time on a Saturday evening, and that just shows how committed you are to the learning and well-being of your kids. So thank you once again. I just hope that today's session is something that you find useful and interactive and engaging. So without wasting any more time, I'm just going to, give me a moment, I'm going to share my screen and just let me know. I mean, just bear with me. Technology always is challenging, no matter how much you prepared for it. So I think I am going to try and make another attempt. I'm not sure if my screen is visible to all of you, because
not yet.
I'm getting some challenge here. My screen sharing is paused. So I don't know why, but
yeah, we can see now. We can see now.
Oh, lovely, lovely, great, awesome. Oh, awesome. Right, I think you guys can see my screen now.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome, thank you so much. That's okay, that's technology, so we don't have to get perturbed by it. That's the way it goes. All you have to do is just take a deep breath and be patient. So today's session is all about we are what we think, and how can we help our children develop a positive mindset about themselves, their work, and their learning. Before I start, some house rules. Please keep yourself muted. If you have any question, use the raise your hand icon. You all are very familiar with it. You must have attended so many webinars during this COVID period. And time and again during the session, I'm going to pause and have a little Q&A so that this discussion is not just a one-way process of me giving gyan and you just taking it passively. I would like you to engage and share your experiences as well. So whenever you see the sign of Q&A, that's the time that you can actually raise your hand up, and one of our panelists is going to unmute you and you'll be able to ask your question. Right, okay. What do we want to achieve in today's session? So we're going to together explore some of the principles of growth and fixed mindset. We're also going to be looking at why we think that talking about growth mindset to kids at an early stage is useful. And I'm going to be sharing with you some strategies that I have tried using it with the kids who I teach, with my own children, and I hope that you will find it useful and you would like to try it with your children as well. So before I start, like I do it with in my classroom when I have kids, I like to know what they know. So I would like to know what you know about growth mindset. So on your screens, while I'm talking, you will have a little survey appearing. saying how many of you have no previous exposure to mindset, some familiarity, and a great deal of familiarity. I just want you to tick the option that suits you the most. So if you could just take a moment and click on the option that applies to you. It's important for me to know what you know, because that just tells me how much background knowledge, experiences people collectively are bringing to this session. Because it's, again, as I keep saying, it's all about learning from each other. I can't teach anyone anything, but together we can learn a lot from each other. So in a moment, we'll see the results of this survey as well, which will tell me what kind of an audience we have today. Can we see the results, please? Okay, right. So more than 50% of us have had no exposure to mindset research, and quite a few of us have some familiarity, and a few have a great, awesome. We have a mixed bag audience, and I think that is what is the best when I engage in sessions, because I think many experiences and examples will be coming out today. So parents, what is mindset? What do we understand by this term mindset? When somebody says mindset, I'm going to share with you a little clip, and then we can have a discussion after this. So watch this clip. Is the video audible, I hope?
Here are two seeds, both planted on the same day, in the same soil, in the same garden bed.
This video is
One
paused.
full of life and ready to grow as tall as it can. The other is filled with fear. What if the sun is too strong and burns my leaves once I grow, it thinks. Or what if a beast eats my tender sprouts? No way, not a chance I am leaving my shell. So, it remains still and stagnant, rigid in its place. The brave seed feels the heat of the sun above and starts to push hard out of its shell. Sure, it has doubts about reaching the outside world, but its curiosity is stronger than anything. I want to see all the living creatures of this garden, it thinks. I can't wait to feel the morning dewdrops on my leaves. The little seed keeps pushing until a single sprout comes out. It grows and grows through sunny, warm days. It even grows through colder, stormy days, because the brave seed knows that the sun will always return. Throughout life, you will have moments when you feel like either one of these seeds. The way we see the world around us and how we behave towards life is called our mindset.
That's it. It's what we believe in is what is mindset. One word we can use to describe mindset, that is our beliefs. So why is it important? And if we just put it in a very simple manner, one word, it is our belief about ourselves with regards to our ability, personality, and talent. If I believe I have the ability, I have the personality, I can do anything, because I have a positive mindset. Before we delve deeper into this session, I would like to know what kind of beliefs do you have as parents? Because before we go to the child, I think it's very important for us to reflect on us as adults. What is our mindset? What do we believe in? So I'm going to do another quick poll, and you will have two statements appearing on your screen. And again, read the statement and choose the option that connects with you the most. The first one being, you can learn new things, but you can't really change your basic intelligence. Please click on the option that you believe in. It's now time for you to reflect on your beliefs. And the second one is, that your intelligence is something about you that you can't change very much. You should see these statements appearing on your devices. Take a moment and reflect on your beliefs. Your beliefs are going to guide your kids, help develop their beliefs. I am not going to share the results of this immediately, but definitely during the session. Just take a few minutes and think about these statements. Okay, I think we would have submitted and chosen the right option by now. I'm going to move on. Why is it important for us to talk about all this? Before I start, I think it's important. It's not something that I have done the research on. It is not my original work. The mindset theory comes from years of research by Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck is a psychologist at Stanford University, and she spent her last 35 years just researching on how children look at themselves and their belief about learning. She's authored many books, and all these books are evidence-based action research on her work on motivation, what motivates children to do well. So if I have to recommend a book, I would say pick up this book, because that's going to change your life and definitely your child's life as well. Carol Dweck her research has primarily been on intelligence versus ability. Okay, the belief that are we born smart or can we become smart? How do we look at ourselves? And the way we look at ourselves defines the two mindset most of us hold. Most of us believe either I can or I can't. And that's how Carol Dweck came up with the terminology growth mindset and fixed mindset. I'm going to show you another clip, and then we'll take it on further, what these mindsets are and how do we define these mindsets. So let's just watch this clip. Okay, just bear with me. There we go.
People who have a growth mindset believe that intelligence can be developed, while people with a fixed mindset believe that intelligence is a fixed trait. People with a fixed mindset think of intelligence kind of like eye color. They believe that you're born with a certain amount of intelligence and you can't do much to change that. People with a growth mindset think of intelligence more like a muscle. They understand that when you put in effort and challenge yourself, you can get smarter. Just like when you put in effort at the gym and challenge yourself by lifting heavier weights to make your muscles stronger. Think about this statement. You can learn new things, but you can't really change your basic intelligence. People who really agree with this statement have a fixed mindset. People who really disagree with this statement have a growth mindset. And of course, people might be somewhere in the middle. It turns out that the more students disagree with statements like these, the more they have a growth mindset, the better they do in school.
Okay. So I would like to see the results and share the results of the poll with you now. What are your beliefs about intelligence? What do you believe in? So can we see the results of the poll, please? All right. If you strongly agree with these statements, then you have a fixed mindset because you primarily believe that your intelligence cannot be changed. And that's what Carol Dweck says, that most of us have this belief that we have a fixed amount of intelligence and it's like our eye color and it cannot change, which means you cannot develop your intelligence. Whereas if you people disagree, whether strongly or somewhat, then you are gravitating towards having a growth mindset. Mind you, we do have both kinds of mindset at some point of time for certain things. But in today's session, particularly, we're going to talk about our mindset with regards to learning and our work and motivation. So thank you so much. I think it's for you to figure out what kind of mindset you have, but let's talk about more. When I describe people with fixed mindset, I would say pretty much like the image that I'm sharing with you right now, which is like a water buffalo stuck in the mud, because you're fixated with the thought that your intelligence cannot be developed. Whereas people with growth mindset, I think I would like to use this picture because it is actually about change. And people with growth mindset say real change comes from within. We have the power to change, and we can change. That is a growth mindset. That's the belief of people with this kind of mindset. Any questions? I'm going to take some questions now because I've been talking for a long time and I don't want this session to be a passive session. So, would any parent want to share, discuss, or ask a question? Please raise your hand and one of our panelists is going to allow you to speak. You can also write your question in the chat boxes. It's very important. Now we have people here who've had previous experiences with mindset, and I think the best way to learn is if we share what we know. So do we have any questions? Okay, all right, that tells me that maybe not now. Right, so why, I'm so sorry, I think I'm gonna go back. I was a bit hasty here. Why is it important for children to see learning with a growth mindset? Why is it so important? Why are we talking about this now? Because there is a link between success, how we achieve success. Success is a combination of talent and mindset. Talent alone does not lead to success, and mindset alone also does not lead to success. It's a combination of ability and having a belief in yourself that I can improve myself. I can grow my intelligence and I can become more able. And what are the benefits? If someone who believes that they can improve, if our children, if we can develop this attribute in our children, what is the benefit? The benefit is you will see a great degree of change in their behavior, their attitude towards their own learning, their attitudes and their way they think about motivation is going to change in a very big way because they are not stuck in the mud. They believe in change and they can bring about that change. Most importantly, the big difference is children with growth mindset and fixed mindset, because of their belief, they start looking at school and learning in a very different way. And their whole approach to why they come to school and how and why they learn is very different. And I think as parents and educators, it's very important for us to know, how do children with growth mindset, with what approach do they view school and learning, right? Let's watch this and see how children with growth mindset and fixed mindset approach school and learning.
Growth mindset approach school differently than students with a fixed mindset. They have different goals in school. The main goal for students with a fixed mindset is to show how smart they are, or to hide how unintelligent they are. This makes sense if you think that intelligence is something you either have or you don't have. You want to show that you have it. Students with a fixed mindset will avoid asking questions when they don't understand something because they want to preserve the image that they are smart, or hide that they're not smart. But the main goal for students with a growth mindset is to learn. This also makes a lot of sense. If you think that intelligence is something you can develop, the way you develop your intelligence is by learning new things. So students with the growth mindset will ask questions when they don't understand something, because that's how they'll learn. Similarly, students with a fixed mindset view effort negatively. They think, if I have to try, I must not be very smart at this. While students with a growth mindset view effort as the way that you learn, the way that you get smarter. Where you'll really see a difference in students with fixed and growth mindsets is when they are faced with a challenge or setback. Students with a fixed mindset will give up because they think their setback means they're not smart. But students with a growth mindset actually like challenges. If they already knew how to do something, it wouldn't be an opportunity to learn, to develop their intelligence. Given that students with a growth mindset try harder in school, especially in the face of a challenge, it's no surprise that they do better in school.
Okay, so I want to ask all you parents to just take a moment and think about, how does your child look at himself and his learning? Does he believe, because the big difference in approach in growth and fixed mindset is children with growth mindset come to school to learn because they know that learning takes place. For learning to take place, we are going to make mistakes. So they're not afraid of making mistakes. Whereas children who think either I'm intelligent or I'm not intelligent, they always want to either look smart or they hide when there is a new challenge because they don't want to be exposed. So if your child, and if you want to promote a growth mindset in your child, what you will be doing is you'll be helping them develop a love for learning and the fearless attitude to make mistake. And they are not going to be shying away from making effort because they know the more effort I put into it, the better I will become. But if your child's mindset is of fixed nature, they'll say, what's the point in putting effort? Because I'm not intelligent. No matter how hard I work, I am not intelligent. And that is the reason precisely why we need to help our children see the world, learning, school with a growth mindset. Because they're ready to work hard, they're ready to put effort. And as I keep saying again and again, they are not afraid to make mistakes. They value mistakes because they know mistakes help them grow and learn. So that is the key thing why we want to help our children develop fixed mindset. And if I were to use a word, children with growth mindset want to improve. And children with fixed mindset always want to prove how smart I am or hide when there is a new challenge because they think they'll be exposed how I'm not smart. I'm being told that there was a question being put on the chat group. Does anybody want to share this question with me now? Or is there anybody who has a question?
Ma'am, there are two hands up. Let me first unmute our guests and then we can take up the questions on the chat box.
Thank you.
We have a question from Mr. Bhomik Bhardwaj. Sir, you can unmute yourself now and you can ask your question.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
It's very interesting and very useful session you are taking. First of all, thank you very much, ma'am. And my question was how we can, how can I build, means how can we make our activities, daily routine activities for 5 to 10 minutes exercise so we can build growth mindset for our child.
Okay, so
I need means some example or means whatever the live activities which we can do on daily activities. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. For that, you will have to continue being with us through this session. And I am going to share some strategies like I shared in the beginning. One of our objective is I'm going to be sharing with you what can you do with your child to promote growth mindset. So just watch out, be with us, don't leave, and you will definitely get some strategies. Thank you. I'm liking it that you're enjoying it so far. Can we have the next question, please?
Yes, ma'am, just right away. We have Ms. Suman Raina. Ma'am, you can unmute yourself now.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Suman.
Good evening.
I'm a mother of a 7.5-year-old girl, a single child. And the things which I am experiencing from last few months, because the things were going on very smoothly till then. My daughter is the only child. We're all grown-ups in the house, and her mind does not match with our mind. She wants to play, she wants to talk, but at her own level. Though I'm also a teacher, but my mindset is towards 9th and 10th. I can't get to her level. So what can I do, or how can I help her so that she does not feel neglected? She does not feel that I am not being taken care of, I am not being tackled, because that was something that was totally put on the head of teachers till 2. We were free because they had hundred and millions of ways to tackle these toddlers, to tackle them, because we cannot teach or we cannot make them understand that the phase which is going on, though they are more intelligent than us, this generation, but still they are kids. We can't help
Okay.
it. How can I
Okay.
help her?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. I will try and answer your question, but there isn't any right answer for this. You have many sub questions in your questions. A, you want to know how to tackle your child. You've agreed that the way your child thinks and the way you think is very different, and it's bound to be because she's just a child. She's discovering the world, right? And whereas as adults, what happens to us is our curiosity dies. We know because we know so many things already, right? So I think what you need to do is you need to allow her to think. You need to encourage her to have a positive and a growth mindset. You need to encourage her to make mistakes, and more, I think I'm going to talk about it when the session progresses. You will find out, as we move along. Okay, so just hold on for a little while.
Sure, ma'am.
Right. Okay, I'm going to move on now because there are other parents who would like to know what's happening next. This is a mindset talent matrix that I'm sharing with you. And I want you people to just observe this matrix very carefully. So it talks about talent on the vertical axis and mindset on the horizontal. And here is a child low on mindset and low on talent, right? So let's just try and see a child like this, who's low on mindset and low on talent, we label, and I'm using the word label, right? Which is very wrong. But that's how we think, oh, he or she is ordinary. Okay? A child who's high on talent but low on mindset does not have a growth mindset, we think are underachievers. In fact, that's what an underachiever is. An underachiever is not somebody whom we say buddhu, right? Or dumb. An underachiever could be a child who has a lot of talent, but doesn't have the right mindset. And I want all you parents and teachers out there to really reflect on what we're discussing at the moment. Then we have overachievers, kids who we say smart, talented, champions, right? Overachievers. Who are overachievers? People who are low on talent. They might not have that much talent, but because they have a good growth, positive mindset, they excel. And these are the kids who we say are overachievers. And of course, then we have our champions who by nature, by virtue of nature and nurture, are high on talent and very high on mindset as well. So please take a moment, think about your child now, and just see where is your child in this matrix. Is your child currently sitting on an ordinary? Or is your child an underachiever? Is your child an overachiever? Is your child a champion? And don't just box your child under these titles. I want you to think why. I'm going to give you some time to think about this. And then I would want to take a live discussion here if any parent would want to share what they think about their child. Don't take the name of your child, please. And don't call out the child section as well, because we have to protect their identity. So parents, think about your children right now. How many of you, and I'm going to ask you questions, how many of you feel that your children are underachieving because they have the ability, but they do not have the right mindset? And I would like you to click on your raise hand icon now, please. How many of you feel like that your children are underachieving? Can you I just want to see a raised hand if you think that your child is an underachiever. How many of you feel that your children are ordinary, which means they are low on talent and low on mindset as well? Okay. Right? And how many of you feel your children are overachievers? Right. Okay. I'm pretty much getting the same numbers here. And are there champions out there? Parents who believe that your child is a champion because they are high on talent and mindset as well? Okay. Okay. Quite a few champions out there. Right. Is there any parent who wants to share something at this point of time? If not, that's perfectly fine. But I do want you people to keep this matrix in your mind, that every child has the ability. We are born with certain amount of ability. And I think it's not just ability, it's ability and effort together that helps your child achieve his or her best potential. Please remember that. Okay, so we move on. In a nutshell, if we have to summarize now between growth and fixed mindset, children with fixed mindset are likely to achieve less than full potential, whereas children with growth mindset, they reach higher levels of achievement. So the whole idea why we are talking about this mindset is because your child's level of success, level of achievement can be way higher if, along with talent, he or she develops a positive mindset. Remember, I said early on, success is a combination of talent and mindset. So you would want your child, along with the innate talent that they're born with, you would want your child to have a growth mindset. That's going to increase the level of achievement for them. Silver lining, mindsets can be changed. So even if your child at this point of time now does not have a growth mindset, you don't have to be disappointed and discouraged, because mindsets can be changed. So this session is not all about what is growth mindset and what is fixed mindset. It's all about, okay, fine. I know there are parents sitting out there who would want to know, how do we change mindset? Okay, so how can we help develop a growth mindset in our children? And before we talk about it, I would want to share something with you. I think it's very important for you parents to know, first of all, how do we learn? How do we learn anything? How do children learn? And we are so fortunate that in the last 15, 20 years, so much research has happened on how our brain works that we now exactly know how do we learn. Learning was a very mysterious thing when I was growing up. My parents had no clue how I was learning or how the brain works or what's the role of the brain in learning. But now we know how we learn. And if we understand how we learn, I think developing a growth mindset will become very, very easy. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to ask you to watch this video very, very mindfully. One second. Sorry, that's technology, which is perfectly fine.
Not so long ago, many scientists believed that the brain did not change after childhood, that it was hardwired and fixed by the time we became adults. But recent advances in only the last decade now tell us that this is simply not true. The brain can and does change throughout our lives. It is adaptable, like plastic. Hence, neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity. How does neuroplasticity work? If you think of your brain as a dynamic, connected power grid, there are billions of pathways or roads lighting up every time you think, feel, or do something. Some of these roads are well-travelled. These are our habits, our established ways of thinking, feeling, and doing. Every time we think in a certain way, practice a particular task, or feel a specific emotion, we strengthen this road. It becomes easier for our brains to travel this pathway. Say we think about something differently, learn a new task, or choose a different emotion. We start carving out a new road. If we keep travelling that road, our brains begin to use this pathway more, and this new way of thinking, feeling, or doing becomes second nature. The old pathway gets used less and less and weakens. This process of rewiring your brain by forming new connections and weakening old ones is neuroplasticity in action. The good news is that we all have the ability to learn and change by rewiring our brains. If you have ever changed a bad habit or thought about something differently, you have carved a new pathway in your brain and experienced neuroplasticity firsthand. With repeated and directed attention towards your desired change, you can rewire your brain.
Okay, before I say anything, I'm going to take a pause and I would just summarize this, that what it talks about is neuroplasticity, which is your intelligence is not fixed. We always used to believe that, we are either intelligent or we are not intelligent, but that myth has now been busted. Intelligence is not fixed. Your brain changes, your brain develops, and it does so throughout your life. Not maybe at the same pace, but it does so. And that is what is neuroplasticity, which means you can learn anything that you want at any time in your life. All you have to do is put effort and keep trying hard and again and again and again. Because it's like a muscle. Your brain is like a muscle. And to those who go to the gym, you know what happens when you exercise. Your muscles become strong. So when a child tries the same thing again and again and again, and if they look at brain as a muscle, then the message that they're getting is that the harder I try, the stronger are my brain muscles going to become. That is neuroplasticity. And that is what we need to keep in mind. So which means intelligence is not fixed. And it's time for us to bin this mindset of fixed intelligence. And it's time for us to embrace growth mindset. So I'm going to take a pause now and see if there are any questions coming either on the chat group or for any parent who wants to go live and ask questions.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, we do have Miss Manisha Shivpuri who wishes to speak. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yeah, ma'am, my question is, how can we differentiate superiority complex with fixed mindset? Ma'am, because there are students, there are kids who believe that they know everything. And that's we call it that they feel that they are superior. And at the same time, they have a fixed mindset that this thing, they know everything. So how can we differentiate these two things? Like, I'm a bit confused in that.
Okay, good question. Very good question. So the answer is superiority complex is again a character manifestation that your child is showing because of the fixed mindset that he has. So you can't differentiate it. Because your child has a fixed mindset and because he thinks he's smart and he's intelligent, he is showing it by demonstrating that superiority complex. Because children with fixed mindset, like I said earlier, they want to prove. They want to prove, either I'm smart, or they want to hide because they don't want to be exposed when someone asks them to do something. So this superiority complex is just a behavior thing that they put on because they want to hide. They want to hide.
It means even though our kid is intelligent enough, he is so bright, intelligent and good in, all the aspects, even in sports or in education, but still it means he has a fixed mindset because he thinks that he is superior in each and everything.
Yes. So your child, if you remember that mindset talent matrix I shared earlier, right?
Yes,
so your child is high on talent, but your child is low in mindset. And if you can help shift the mindset, that's when your child can become a true champion. And I also want to say one more thing here. What do we mean by a true champion? Not just achieving something or being successful in getting marks and percentages and grade. Children who have a growth mindset, they enjoy what they achieve. They are very happy with their success. Whereas children with fixed mindset, they might achieve a lot and they are very successful, but they don't enjoy it. They're not happy with it. Why? Because they want to prove someone something. So that is another reason why it's important for us to have that growth mindset. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other question?
Miss Siddhi, would you like to ask us something?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Siddhi Rati? Okay, Mr. Bhaumik Bhardwaj wishes to ask something. You can unmute
Hello,
yourself,
ma'am.
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am. I want to ask that how much time will meeting take and reading will take time to end because my father has some work.
Please ask us this on the chat box. Thank you.
And I have asked.
Um,
Ma'am, I want to ask you something. This is
yes,
Siddhi Rati from here.
yes, ma'am. Please.
Ma'am, regarding the fixed mindset only, I have two kids. One is of 11 and one is of 9. The age gap between them is only 2 years. So, when I make them teach, they are capable, but for them, it's like they can't do. And it's like they always say they can't do. But when they sit to do, they do it. But the mindset which they have in their mind is, I cannot.
Yes.
I cannot. So
Okay.
how can we change that mindset of the kid? And my kid is capable.
Yep.
I know my kid is capable, but he doesn't want to.
Okay.
The
All right.
eagerness to do anything is not there.
Thank you for your question. I will just talk about and give you the answer in my next slide. So I'm just going to wait and see if there's any other question. And I will answer your question, ma'am. Just wait for a moment. Any other question before I can move on?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, ma'am. Good evening,
Good
ma'am.
evening. Good evening.
Ma'am, I have a question. I have a daughter who is 9 years old. So she is good in studies and all. So, but sometimes when she gets some difficult tasks for study, so she thinks that she can't do it, or means she doesn't want to put much effort in that. So eventually she when I or we as a parent persuade her, so she eventually learns it. But in the beginning she is afraid that it is very difficult thing, and she says that she will not be able to do it. So how we can change this kind of mindset?
Okay, good questions coming now. So I'm going to answer all of them together. Can I move on, or is there any other question that I pick up? Gunjan ma'am, are there any other questions, or can I move on, please? Okay, I think I'm going to move on.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Now, I just wanted to know, is there any other question, or shall I move on?
We do have one more question. Miss Kritika Asthana wishes to ask one. Ma'am, you can unmute yourself.
Ma'am, I have spoken just before I
Yeah,
was speaking.
I am going to answer all these questions together, sir, because your questions are all connected. So I'm just trying to gather some more questions. Is that okay?
Miss Kirti Kalra, you can unmute yourself now, ma'am. Mr. Kapil Dev Verma, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi. Very good evening, ma'am.
Very good evening.
Yeah, this is Kapil. I have one question. Though I have written that question over the chat, but I just wanted to ask how the emotional quotient of a kid helps to think him differently.
Okay.
Does it help to convert the fixed mindset to a growth mindset?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Just wait. I think I'm going to move on, Gunjan.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, first, let me just answer them first. Okay, so how can you help your child develop a growth mindset? I think first and foremost, you need to recognize your own mindset. Okay, and I'm going to talk about this. What kind of a mindset do you have as a parent? Are you fixated with intelligence and performance? Do you want your child to prove to you how intelligent he or she is? Or do you support a growth mindset where it's all right to make mistakes and you believe in effort? Because please remember, children learn from us. They observe us. They see how we're doing things. So the first thing is, I would like all you parents to take some time out and reflect on your own mindset. Okay, that's the first thing. Talk to your child about the brain and how it works. Share the video that I just showed you. Talk to your child about neuroplasticity. Tell your child how your brain has this immense capacity to grow and develop. That how your brain, the more harder you work, the stronger it becomes. So you have to talk to your child about this. I don't remember my parents talking to me about this. I wasn't a very good student when it was history or geography. And I would do the same. I can't do it. My parents never encouraged me because it was accepted that I don't have the talent, I don't have the ability for history and geography, so I can't do it. No. Every child can do it. You need to talk to the child. Okay, this is how our brain works. Sometimes when we do something once, it's not enough. We have to do it again. So you need to have these conversations with your child. And please don't talk to them like how I'm talking to you, because children don't have that much patience. You show them videos. And I'm going to share with you the link of the video that I've shared with you. But there are so many videos on YouTube, but choose an age-appropriate video and talk to your child about this. Introduce the concept of the two mindsets to your child. Start talking about the fixed and the growth mindset to your child in your breakfast conversation, dinner table conversation. Your child needs to know these two words, okay? Because then your child slowly will internalize and will begin to see, oh, I think I have a fixed mindset. That is why I show this superiority complex, or that is why I don't want to take up a new challenge. They'll remember, oh, daddy said I need to work hard. I need to put more effort. So when you talk to your child, when you talk to them openly about these two mindset concepts, trust me, it makes a lot of difference. One parent just asked me about emotional quotient. I cannot stress more on this, that if you put pressure on your child, or if your child is always in a work culture or a learning culture where performance is very out there, then the child's mind is never ever going to be a growth mindset. Because again, going back to how the brain works, if you put pressure, the brain is in a flight or fight mode and it goes blank. So no amount of good teaching, no amount of motivation is going to work if your child is being pressurized to do something. So a child needs to have a balanced emotional state. And for that, you as parents need to understand the role of emotion in learning. If a child is upset, if a child is angry, if a child is frustrated, the mind is blank. And the child feels like this when the child has that fixed mindset, I can and I can't. So the solution is help them see that learning happens with effort. Learning happens with hard work. And we are not going to learn in the first attempt. And it's okay. It's okay if you can't learn it the first time. You just need to keep at it. I'm just sharing with you how you can talk to your child about the brain. Pick up books. There are some amazing books out there. I had this session last Saturday with parents of UKG to grade 2, and I requested them, make it a habit to read books like these as bedtime stories. You don't have to do it every day, but sometime. Encourage your child and do a shared reading, together reading with your child. And these are such lovely stories where the child will understand how the brain works. Your children might be slightly older for these books now, but you can look for books that are suitable and are age appropriate, but they talk about the brain, they talk about neuroplasticity, and they talk about I can in a very light-hearted manner. And that's the kind of conversation you have to have with your child. There are amazing ebooks available on YouTube. Read them together with the child. Don't do this mistake of saying, go watch this YouTube video. You have to sit with your child and watch it together, because you are the adult here who can help them see the way it is meant to be seen. So I've spoken about what you have to do. You have to talk about neuroplasticity. You have to talk about the two concepts of mindset. How are you going to do that? Choose books, choose videos, and model that mindset yourself, so that children know this is how we learn. Okay, 1 second. Right. This is the most important thing. The second thing that you have to do is be very, very mindful of how you praise your child. I know we all praise our kids. Kids want to be praised. Praise is a wonderful way of motivating our kids. But it's very important that you don't praise the outcome, you praise the process. And I'm going to share an example with you here. You must be wondering why I have the picture of a pressure cooker here, and I'm sharing a story with you. Okay, so this is something that happened with me, my child. I've got 2 boys, they're grown up now, but I asked my younger one to fix the lid of this pressure cooker. And I don't have a fancy pressure cooker like this. Mine's a very old-fashioned traditional one. So my son struggled with it, and finally, after a couple of minutes, he was able to fix the lid of the pressure cooker. And as soon as he finished, he said, "Oh, look, I'm smart." That's what he said. I'm smart. And earlier, I would have said, "Yes, beta, well done. You are very smart." But now, I do not do this praise. I don't give this praise. Instead, my praise to him was, "Well done. I really loved that you tried hard. I liked that you tried." So the point I'm trying to make is praise the effort, not the outcome. So don't praise the result. If a child scores high marks in the test, you say, "Well done." That's praising the outcome. Even if your child scores high marks in the test, don't praise the outcome. You praise, "I liked how much work, how much effort you put in preparing for this test." So the child begins to understand that my parents do not want performance. They actually value effort and hard work. And that's how they start thinking differently. So it's all about what you praise. Do you praise the outcome or do you praise the effort? And the key to developing a growth mindset is do not praise the outcome, praise the effort. So here are some statements I'm going to show you. Don't say to your child, "You are so smart." Why? Because again, you are telling your child that this is what you think is important. You're intelligent, you're smart. Don't say that. Instead, you say, "I can see you work so hard." What message are you sending to your child? That as a parent, you value hard work. Okay? Don't say to your child, and this is about emotional quotient that a parent asked earlier. A child might not be performing in a particular subject in school, right? Don't come heavy on your child. Don't show that you are upset and angry in this way, that you're not paying attention in class. I don't think so, you're trying hard. Don't say that. Because remember, the brain is now going into your flight or fight mode. The brain's going blank. Your child is blank. He's under pressure or she's under pressure to perform. So don't say this comment. Instead, you can say, "Well, that's not right. You don't understand this." And there's a very magical word I'm using here, "yet." Talk to your child. and ask, what strategies can you try? What have you done to improve your learning? How can I help you? And the word yet is the most powerful thing. To say, and I'm going to say this in Hindi, अगर आप अपने बच्चे को कहते हो तुम ये नहीं कर सकते, that's one way of saying. और अगर आप अपने बच्चे को कहते हो तुम ये अभी नहीं कर सकते, which means you're leaving space for them to grow. That you can't do it now, but maybe if you put effort and if you work hard, you will be able to do it. And that is the power of this word yet. That's the power of this word yet. So I think as parents, first you have to develop your language of praise. How do you praise your child? What are you praising your child for? Okay. Anybody has any questions? I've again been talking for a long time now.
Those of you
Anyone?
who have questions can raise your hands.
Or you can drop these questions in the chat box and we can pick it up later.
All right. Miss Kirti Kalra, if you could use the Q&A box.
Yeah. So this is not something that's going to happen in one day, parents. Please remember, there's a lot that you have to work on your own self, a lot of reflection on your own mindset, a lot of reflection upon how do you praise your child. Okay, so I'm moving on. What else can we do? Again, I'm still talking about praise. Don't praise your child for something that he can do quickly. Okay, because when you do that, you're sending a wrong message. You praise them when they have worked hard for a while to achieve something which was difficult. So what I'm trying to say is, don't praise them too often, and don't praise them if they do something which was very easy. You really praise them on their effort, on something which was difficult, and they kept trying and trying and trying. So that way, the child also begins to value praise. Okay? And the message that you're sending to your child is that you truly value hard work, and it's hard work that leads to success. Again, go back to my success talent matrix. Success is a combination of ability and effort. Please remember that. So this whole thing about praise is something which is new to us, because the school says praise the child. You see other parents praising their child, and we feel we have to praise the child. Yes, we have to praise the child. Praise is important. It motivates all of us. But sometimes this praise might just be making them more fixed in their mindset. And it might just be doing exactly the opposite of what we want. So parents, please, and teachers also, if there's any teacher there, be mindful of the praise. I was talking earlier, reflect on your own mindset. You as parents and as teachers, you need to model a growth mindset for them. There was a parent earlier saying, my daughter says, I can't. बच्चे बोलते हैं, मैं नहीं कर सकता. And it's very heartbreaking as a parent and as a teacher when we hear these phrases. I can't do maths. I can't paint. I can't dance. What you need to do is change that language and replace your I can't with not yet, which means आप अभी नहीं कर सकते हो. और अगर आप मेहनत करोगे, and if you put more effort, you will be able to do it. So just changing the language gives that space for the child to grow. And back up this with the talk of neuroplasticity, that the brain has the ability to change and get rewired. So you have to change your language, parents. Instead of saying, I can't paint, I can't cook, I can't bake, right? I think you should now say, I have not learned how to paint yet. I haven't learned how to make this cake yet. I'm yet to master the art of painting. So this word yet is the most powerful word which will help us shift from fixed to growth mindset. Instead of saying, oh, this is too hard, just change it. Say, this is really hard for me, but I think I'll get better if I keep practicing. Again, what are you modeling to your child? That effort leads to success. Hard work leads to higher degree of achievement. So change the way you say things. Stop using this word, I can't, and start using not yet. And you can use it in any vernacular. You don't have to use it in English. You can say it in Hindi as well, because that comes naturally to you. And this is something which is nice. You know, you can have a joke in your house. This is a Yeti monster. Yeti monster is a fictional, it's a mythical creature, character in stories. But what Yeti means is yet with an apostrophe, not yet. So I can't do it yet. So we need to make our children Yeti monsters. Okay? So just take the word I can't and replace it with not yet, because it is magical. Absolutely magical, but it's not going to happen overnight. You can't see the change by start using not yet and hoping that in 1 week your child's mindset will change and you'll say, I went in this session and the lady said all this thing and you see my child is still the same. It takes time. It takes, consistency in using this language, and slowly you will see your child's thought process and beliefs changing. Okay, this is so important. You have to, as parents, encourage a healthy attitude to failure and challenge. Don't criticize them when they make mistakes. What you have to see is encourage your children. When you talk about neuroplasticity, actually what you're trying to tell your child is mistakes help you grow. Mistake doesn't mean that I have failed. Mistakes do not mean that I don't have the ability. Mistakes are the stepping stone to success. Without making mistakes, we cannot grow. So if you want to grow, you have to make mistakes. In fact, I'll rephrase, you want to grow, you will make mistakes. Accept it, but don't give up. Keep trying, because mistakes grow your brain. Mistakes are valuable. None of us have achieved what we have achieved by saying, I never made any mistake. The difference is people who are successful, they don't give up after making a mistake. And people with fixed mindset, they give up when they make a mistake. Why? Maybe because their teacher is upset with them, or their parents at home are upset with them. And they're just, unknowingly promoting that fixed mindset. Talk to your child, use vocabulary, use language like it's good to struggle and make mistakes. But you also have to say, so don't say to your child, it's all right to make mistakes. No, that's not what we want to say. What we want to say is that in order to improve, we do make mistakes, but you have to learn from those mistakes. Reflect on why you were not able to do it. Try hard. Your brain muscle is getting stronger. You can give examples like even if you go to the gym, you don't lose weight overnight. You have to continue with your exercises for a period of time. So this attitude is not going to develop overnight. You as parents will have to use the right language, and at home, you have those mantras, yes, we can, but it's okay. Mistakes are going to happen. And if you move on, what is it that you need to avoid at home? I've been talking so far the things that you have to do. What are the things that you should avoid at home? And please, don't label your child. This is to all parents and teachers out there. Don't compare your child with the other sibling. You have a 9-year-old, you have an 11-year-old. Don't compare them. Don't label them. Don't even label them. Oh, you have a growth mindset, you have a fixed mindset. Avoid labeling. It doesn't do it. It just sort of like brings their emotional quotient down. Try and avoid using the words like clever and smart. Replace them with effort and hard work statements. And you yourself as parents, stop saying, I can't, and replace your statements with, not yet. I still have to practice more. I have to keep trying, you know. So these are few things that you can avoid as parents. I think I'm going to skip the Q&A for a little while now and take it up later, because I still want to talk about a few things. I think there are few very ordinary words that I think we should redefine after this session. Effort is the secret to getting smarter. That is how you will see. If your child starts seeing like this, that effort is the secret to getting smarter, then your child is definitely moving on towards developing a positive growth mindset. The word difficult, if your child is working towards developing a growth mindset, they will see difficult as challenging, and they will see it as an exciting opportunity to take risks and have a go at it. Because remember, children with fixed mindset, they give up. They don't want to do difficult things because they are scared that they're going to get exposed. So this is what your child will start doing if they are, you know, if their belief about mindset is changing. And mistakes are learning opportunities. Mistakes don't mean failure. Mistakes are learning opportunities. So these are some indicators that I'm sharing with you. That if the meaning of these words change, and how will you see that they have changed? You will see a change in their behavior. You will see a change in their attitude. You will see a change with which they see work and learning both at home and school. That's going to tell you that my child is now started moving towards growth mindset. And again, fail is not something to be ashamed of. A child with growth mindset will look fail as first attempt in learning. All right, I'm going to press the pause button here. And I'm happy to take any questions that are there at the moment, either on the chat box or live.
So we do have a hand up. Just a second, ma'am.
Yeah.
Miss Kirti Kalra, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. I have unmuted.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear
Can
you.
you hear me? Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask you something that my child, he's he does anything which he likes only. जैसे अगर ना उसको YouTube पे कोई चीज अगर क्रिएटिव आर्ट बनाने के लिए है, then he stuck to that. 24 hours he is kept into making the gauntlet or some storm
I understand.
or something. मतलब ठीक है. और whenever I ask him to study, then he keep on doing these things, but side by side, but his mind is struck कि मुझे वो बनाना है बस. He keep on मतलब उसके लिए ना कलर्स भी चाहिए उसको उसके लिए इतने ही बॉटल्स ऑफ ग्लू उसने खराब कर दिया, इतने कार्टन्स खराब कर दिए, सब कुछ कर दिया. बट ये है कि मतलब उसका ना टैलेंट उस चीज में क्यों जा रहा है? मतलब कुछ सब्जेक्टिव होना चाहिए ना, कि जिस टाइम जिस चीज की डिमांड है वो करना चाहिए ना. मैं उसको हटाती हूँ ना उन चीजों के लिए, फिर भी वो नहीं मम्मा मुझे भी इन्वॉल्व करने की कोशिश करेगा. तो मैम मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता कि भाई उसके लिए फिक्स्ड है वो चीज, बट उसको ना बहुत अच्छा लगता है उन चीजों में. अब जैसे साइकिल चलाने का उसको होगा तो शाम को जरूरी, मतलब अगर अंधेरा हो जाएगा ना तब तक भी मम्मा मुझे साइकिल चलाने जाना ही है. तो वाई मतलब कुछ चीजों को ना समझने में थोड़ी सी देर लगाता है, बट मेरी हेल्प बहुत करता है कि अपने छोटी चलाने में. और उसको मतलब बहुत होता है कि मम्मा अच्छा मैं आपकी कोई हेल्प कर दूं, मम्मा किचन में थोड़ी देर में आता रहेगा. और किस दिन डांट पड़ जाए तो उसके बाद सॉरी अब नहीं करूंगा मम्मा प्लीज. तो उस टाइम होता है कि why don't you understand these things na?
So what is your question? Thank you for sharing what you've shared. What is your question?
Hello?
Yeah.
Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening to you. What is your exact question?
समझी जाए ना कि what he wants, और मतलब what he thinks of each and everything. मतलब कैसे बच्चे किसी चीज के लिए क्या होते हैं, उनको डांट पड़ जाती है तो वो कैसे हो जाते हैं, और लाइकिंग किस चीज के लिए लाइकिंग होते हैं उनको.
Okay, so this is very normal and very natural, and we all are like that. That there are certain things that we like and we want to do it again and again and again, right? If given any opportunity, I would like to do something that I like. That's normal. That's natural. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, your child should have this routine and this attitude and this habit of doing what he has to do. He might not like it, but he still has to do it. So I think what you need to do as a parent is you respect what he likes, which, as what you're saying, you already are. But what you also need to do is sit down with him and talk about that there are certain things that he might not like, but you still have to do it. So you have to develop a routine for it. Put him in a routine. And if he's not doing it, try and have a conversation with him. Why is he avoiding it? You'll have to just spend some time. You'll have to invest your time with him and understand why is he not doing other things. Because as a 9-year, 10-year-old, this is very normal, very natural. All 9, 10 years old. I mean, for that matter, even I am. I mean, you give me something to do, I will do what I like doing. But now I'm an adult and I know that there's certain things I have to do even if I don't like doing it. But with your child, my suggestion is have light-hearted conversations with him where you talk about that जो हमको अच्छा लगता है वो तो हम करते ही हैं. But we also have to do things that we don't naturally like. So you'll have to talk to your child about these things. And again, as I'm saying, that, children don't want to listen because they think, oh, my parents are again nagging me. So आपको बहुत ही clever तरीके से एक right moment ढूंढना है and get him into this conversation and make him understand and try and find out why he doesn't want to do it. If it's a problem with his mindset, we've discussed how you can work on that. But I think to begin with, start having a conversation with him and try and understand why he avoids doing other things. Yeah, try that. Do we have any other question, Gunjan?
Ma'am, we've got some in the chat box, in the Q&A box. Should I address them?
Yeah.
I will just pick them up. So there's one question by Miss Kritika Asthana, wherein she's asking us if there are any parameters with the help of which we can segregate our children into these matrix boxes that you had mentioned earlier, ma'am.
Do not segregate them, please. Don't compartmentalize them. The matrix that I showed you was just something for you to understand that success is a combination of talent and mindset. And we all have the ability. It is the mindset which is the game changer. So if I'm high on talent, but I'm low on mindset, then even though I have the ability, but because I have a poor mindset, I will always be an ordinary person. Or maybe I'm underachieving, same, because I'm high on talent, low on mindset. But when I'm high on talent and high on mindset, that is when I'll be able to achieve my potential. So there are no parameters as such. And my suggestion is, please don't label your kids. Don't put them under any compartments. Just for you as parents, I showed you the matrix for you to understand how important it is for you to have high on talent and high on mindset. So that's my sincere request.
Right. And ma'am, there's another one wherein I think this is pretty relevant. If a child is pressurized by his friends at school and, the mindset of his friends at school affects him, how can a parent pitch in?
Same thing, Gunjan, what I said earlier. Talk to your child about the brain. Talk to your child about the two mindset. And also talk to your child about, if you don't value performance at home, the child is never going to get under any pressure. Most of the times, children get under this pressure because their parents expect them to perform.
Yes.
Right? But if at home you have a culture where you value hard work and you value effort, your child is not going to get under any pressure. So, develop this culture at home where you read stories that talk about brain and a positive mindset. You at home model a positive mindset. You at home do not have a performance culture. Your child is not going to get under any pressure. Because
Absolutely.
please remember, children want to please their parents. Children want to make their parents happy. So that is why they come under pressure.
True. And ma'am,
What
now
else?
we have a couple more questions. One regarding, how the child is very positive and active during class and even during a regular day at school, but the exam changes the child's mindset. It makes it negative, and the child is not able to perform. What is something that the
Same
parents?
reason. For the same reason, because there is a performance culture at home. There is a performance culture, the expectations from the child, and the child has always heard the language of intelligent, smart, and the child has not heard the language of learning, growth, effort, hard work. So a child with a growth mindset will go into an exam not to prove how smart and intelligent he or she is. The child will appear in the exam with the belief to see how much have I learned? What more do I need to learn? So when a child goes into an exam with this kind of a belief, the child will never be under any pressure because he or she knows that, okay, even if I make a mistake, it's all right. I'm not there yet. I still have to improve. Okay, so it's all about
Absolutely.
the language and expectations at home. That's so important. And Gunjan, I'm just going to pause you for a little while. I'm going to take more questions. Let me just introduce this reflection bit. And while people are writing the reflection, I can still take up some questions. So parents, I now want you to reflect on these 3 questions that you can see on the screen. Okay, you don't have to answer all the 3 questions. You can choose any one question. You can answer all 3. It's going to be really, really good because now it's time for you to think about what did you learn from this session? What is the one thing that you will stop doing as a parent? And what is the one thing that you will start doing as a parent? These are your reflection questions. But how we are going to do this reflection, I'm going to do something very exciting with you. You are going to see a link appearing on the chat box. Okay? While I'm talking, a link will be appearing in your chat box. And when you click on that link, it should take you to a screen that I'm showing you now. It's a Padlet. I'm going to go slow. You will see a link appearing on your chat box. Click on the link and you should see something like what I'm showing you at the moment on the screen. Click on this plus sign. When you click on the plus sign, a little text box will appear like what I'm showing you. And it is in this text box, I want you to write down your reflections. And you have the 3 questions in the side. You don't have to answer all 3. I would love for you to answer all 3, but you don't have to. But I really want to see these reflections. And in a minute, and please write your names as well. Please write your names, parents. Because it's very important for me to see. Okay. We have Sheetal reflecting and saying that she would like to use the not yet. Okay, power of yet. Priyanka is talking about power of yet. Thank you. Jaideep is saying that you're going to praise the effort more rather than the outcome. Thank you. Again, we have more power of yet. Okay, I have Sunanda saying that she would like to watch the brain plasticity video with her children. Awesome. I want people to take time and write your reflections. And I think please take time to look at other people's reflection as well. We learn when we reflect. It's the most powerful way to learn. Okay. And if you are having problem accessing this link and going on Padlet, you can write your reflection on the chat box also. But
Hello,
I would
I have
love to
one
see this.
question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, the question is that my child basically many times I have an open communication with him and try to understand what is happening, that he is repeatedly doing the mistakes, means just like if we tell him that you should do this thing and you should not do this thing, but what we are observing that after maybe a half day or one day he is repeating the same mistakes. And another thing that just like he have a small brother for 2 years and his age is 10 years, and he always means uh, what I can say, irritates him. He enjoying to irritate the younger brother. So means we have speak with him many times. Even sometimes we punished also that we should not do, but we are do that thing also. But what we are observing that there is no means correction in that part. He is intelligent. He is working hard. Everything, but these parts we are trying a lot to improve, but it is not going in a proper direction. So what
Okay.
we can do?
So what do you want to improve? You want your child to stop irritating the younger brother?
Yeah, that is the one thing. And another thing that just like if he is doing something wrong and we are teaching him that you have to do it in that way, but he is in some other mind, and next day he will again do the same repetitive mistakes. The correction is not happening in that part.
Okay. All right. So basically, I think your child irritating the younger sibling is very normal and natural. I have two grown-up boys, and trust me, they do it even now. So even I do
Age
not.
difference is, ma'am, age difference is very means the younger one is 2 years old and the elder one is a 10-year old. So difference is much
Sir,
basic.
please don't worry. The age difference between my two boys is 9 years.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. And they are grown-ups. They are adults and they still trouble each other. So
Okay.
even I have not been able to find the answer to that. I think I've accepted it, that it's just sibling love. It's the way that, your older one is trying to bond with the younger one. See, as long as he's not harming him, right?
Hmm.
And as
Hmm.
long as he's not doing something which is dangerous,
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine. Okay, that's
Actually,
one.
actually, the thing is that, ma'am, just like with this answer, I got one thing that just like he doesn't have the nature to share the things. Like the younger brother always asks something, and he's always means not willing to share. Maybe it's my mistake that we have not teased him, but
Yes, it
the
is your
thing,
mistake. I'm pausing you now. It's your mistake.
yeah, but how we can improve means
Yeah.
I agree that this is my mistake, but now what I can do that he learn to share the things with the younger
Yeah.
one.
So I think what you can do is, sir, what you can do is that you need to talk to your child.
Mhm.
And please remember one thing, that your child is not going to change in 1 day, 2 day, 1 week. Okay.
Yes.
Research says it takes us at least 6 weeks to form a new habit. At
Okay.
least 6 weeks. But
Okay.
what you have to do in these 6 weeks is keep talking about what you want your child to work on.
Okay.
As parents, हम हिम्मत हार जाते हैं,
Yeah, we can
right?
say like that.
Yeah. So हम एक दिन बोलते हैं, 2 दिन बोलते हैं, then we give up because we got so much to do and we are tired, we are fed up, and we're like, oh, no. ऐसे नहीं होता. Parenting is hard work. You know that. We all know that. So the answer to your question is, keep talking to your child. It takes at
Okay.
least 6 weeks to work on your habit. Okay.
Okay.
And as far as
Okay.
your child troubling the little one, I don't think so there's anything you can do about it. Maybe I don't have the answer to that. So I hope I've answered your question.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I can see
Ma'am,
on my, yes.
ma'am, there is one question, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ma'am, is it really okay to push your kid? Like, obviously, we tell them to do something which needs efforts, because if something different he has to do, he has to put some efforts. But he started doing it, and then initially he feels कि यार ज़्यादा नहीं हो पा रहा, तो चलो let's leave. But then is it okay if we push? No, you just try again and push him again and again to do things. Is it okay to push?
It is only okay if you make the child understand why are you, and then
Pushing
don't use
him.
the word pushing. Don't use the word pushing.
Okay.
Why are you encouraging him not to give
Okay.
up?
Yes,
There is
exactly.
a difference
Encouraging is the
between
right word.
pushing and encouraging,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
Pushing
absolutely,
is
ma'am.
negative and encouraging is positive.
Positive. Yes,
So
ma'am.
you
Absolutely.
have to encourage your child. Please encourage your child. But when you are encouraging your child, if you have spoken to your child about neuroplasticity, if you have spoken to your child about the mindsets, then your child will understand why are you encouraging him. But if you just push your child, ki karo, 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 then again that emotional quotient gets disturbed. And then they see it as pressure. And then they see it something negative. And again, it's fight or flight. Mind goes blank. Am I making sense? So
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
do
Actually,
not
we have to be
push,
very, yes, we have to
encourage.
be very,
Yeah.
yes, we have to use positive words. Basically, we have to change, like, can say we have to change the words we use very cautiously.
Yes. And also, like what I said, the hashtag number one thing is you need to first develop your mind.
Yes, ma'am.
See what
Absolutely
is
right.
your mindset.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Absolutely right. Thank you,
So
ma'am.
that's what you need to do. And I have parents saying that, the link is not working. I apologize for that. You can still put your reflection on the chat box. Okay. And I would now want to go back to my screen where I was. And I think, please let me know, is my screen visible now? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, lovely. All right. So we've done the reflections, and I'm now going to finish this session by just few statements. It's not a sprint. You're not running a 100-meter race, which is going to finish in 10 seconds. When we talk about belief, when we talk about mindset, it is a marathon, which means you are there for a long time. Go slow, be persistent, and enjoy this journey with your child. It's very important for you to enjoy. Okay. I'm going to leave you with these last words from Carol Dweck. I think if you can just make this your little mantra and stick it up somewhere and read this every day, you will not give up. And I'm just going to read out for all other parents. If parents want to give their children the best thing you can do is to teach them to love challenges, to be curious about making mistakes, enjoy putting effort, and keep on learning. That way, the children don't have to be slaves of praise. They will have a lifelong way to build and repair their own confidence. And I don't think so. I have anything else to say after this. So on that note, I would like to say thank you to all parents. You took out time. I hope you found this session useful. I hope each one of you is walking out of this session with something new, something that you're going to go and reflect and work with your child on developing a growth mindset. So thank you so much to all of you. Have a lovely Saturday evening, and I hope to see you all again soon sometime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mamta ma'am. It was definitely enriching for me, and I can see on the chat box that a lot of parents also found it extremely enriching and valuable. Thank you so much for all your inputs. And thank you to all the parents for being here. There's one last request from you all. You will have a short poll, which will pop up on your screen just about now. We would request you to please fill in the poll, and thank you all for being here. We are very grateful for your time. Thank you all. We will be sharing some links to books and YouTube videos, right, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes.
You will be getting a copy of this PowerPoint with all the names of the books and the YouTube links. And of course, you can always reach out to the school. I'll share my ID as well if you have any further questions, and we can always have a follow-up session.
Thank you for this wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
Thank you.
sharing.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you for sharing your insights. It's really helpful. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.